What's going on, gamers? We got a crash out video here to cover. Xbox fanboys are also salty, but then at the same time, The Verge is being called out for Sony damage control, which you can't even really do that because it's so bad and everybody's making videos. I've done them. You see on my channel, I already got like 4 up. But the thing here is that this does not mean, and it's the same thing, because you could reverse the coin and say, no. You're glad that Sony announced physical games being canceled so that Xbox can be paid less attention to. That does not mean that they're not a disaster. Xbox is indeed a disaster. Your hardware is dead in the water. Your software sales are dead in the water. Game Pass is dead and failed in the water. The only thing you have left is publishing. All the price hikes, everything in Xbox is completely in the grave. So it's not necessarily wrong for them to be able to do this. You still can make Xbox videos and still talk about what PlayStation did, right? But Xbox fanboys cannot handle this. So let's get into this. We had a lot to talk about, and then we have somebody who posted what they said so that we can get past this paywall. Yeah, The Verge puts up a paywall so you can't get to the article. Kind of annoying, right? Become a member, leave a tip down below, like, comment, subscribe. Let's get into this. So like I said, we know how big the Sony drama is right now, but I'll tell you like I tell you before. Same thing with the PS3 hack situation. Same thing with live service being canceled. The PlayStation brand is so strong that it doesn't matter. And Sony knows what they're doing. Their stock actually went up. And people, and you know how hordes work because you've seen it with Pokemon games, will eventually forget about this. It's the social media. It's way bigger than the impact that's going to happen in real life. When a year or two pass from now, I guarantee you, you're going to be surprised at the results. Or actually before the end of the year when GTA comes out. That's why Sony's getting this out the way early, but do they still need to be careful how they do something? Sure, but let's get to Xbox is a disaster. Now, first and foremost, we know how bad it is, and it's about to get even more bad. They gave you 30 straight days of negative news again, like last year, right? After the game showcase. And Sony does this, and this gets huge because it is something that's huge. And that's how much bigger PlayStation is than Xbox and more successful. So, of course, the rage is going to be bigger. It matters. Even Kojima called it out and said, no, you know what I mean? I'm sad that that's going to happen. He said it. Now, going down here, Josh Standard says, F PlayStation. All the homies hate PlayStation. That's absolutely funny. Jonathan says, people talking bad about PlayStation. Quick break the glass. Here's the thing. How are you blaming Xbox for PlayStation's mistakes? You're a moron to me. It has nothing to do with Xbox. Why they're posting this? Why are people like? If Sony went and made and destroyed physical, what do you mean blame Xbox in case of emergency? Break the glass. Like The Verge can cover Sony's drama. They can't put a cover over that. It's too huge. This is just saying Xbox is a disaster. It's true. It's a fact. They're not making up anything. It's not a distraction. It's literally still reality. That PlayStation drama is just massively big, though. But wait till tomorrow. Xbox gonna get back to it. Sony don't got that long. We know how this works, right? Rhino says, PlayStation is in a much worse spot. Lies. Now that everyone forgot the train wreck that Xbox and its CEO are in. That's what I'm saying. Like, if you think because Sony announced physical disc ending, which Xbox has been doing literally for over a decade, PC has been doing for a long time, only Nintendo is the last bastion for that. It's been like that with disc in the box. Microsoft's been doing it. If you think that that's going to put PlayStation below the position that's Xbox in, then you are brain dead to me. I can't take you serious because it's like not even close. They still won the generation. They're going to sell over 100 million, have GTA 6 marketing and rights, and PS6 is going to launch. Xbox Helix could be dead. Microsoft could cancel it and sell off the brand. There's so much wrong. PlayStation Publishing did not fail. PlayStation Digital did not fail. PlayStation Hardware did not fail. PlayStation First Party did not fail. Did they make some mistakes in this generation? Sure. But PlayStation is still a massive success, the most in history. When you combine PS1, 2, 3, and 4 combined together, it's more successful than all of them. And you still got 2 years left. There's no way Sony could ever be in that position. But they're definitely in trouble with this. But let's see how they handle it. But this is not going to kill PlayStation. That's what I'm saying. Same thing with Nintendo. No matter what happens to them, it's not going to happen. They know how to play the game. Microsoft does not. And that's quite obvious. Abstract Context says, funny how you have links in your article about Sony, yet you don't name Sony nor PlayStation even once. Cheap MFers. Sony called they're in deep PR nightmare right now. Not necessarily. The Verge doesn't have that type of following that if they post something that had millions of views. That PlayStation drama is like 130, 140 million views just off of Sony's. It's generating hundreds of millions of views across social media. Everybody knows about it. You can't damage control for that. You just have to wait on Microsoft to come out again on Monday and do the bloodbath, which, well, like I said, they're destroying everything. Sony's not destroying no developers in that sort of process, because they're all going to make more money digital, and physical is still going to be around in 2028. Let's see what happens. We need to see the real results, how gamers actually reply to this. They're going to decide that. You see what I mean? You have to understand that. If they're still voting with their wallet and most of them are digital and the rest convert to digital with only 2 to 3% loss, then what are you going to do about that? It didn't really do much then, did it? So here's the article that was posted by XJDocs. Shout out to XJDocs, because he says, for anyone wanting to avoid the paywall, it's right here. Let's go ahead and read it. It says how it started. Microsoft closed out Summer Games Fest with a bang. The company's annual June showcase was packed with crowd pleasers. Halo, Gears of War, Fable, and translucent Xbox, and even some pleasant surprises like new Persona and Crazy Taxi games. But this is all going everywhere besides Gears and Clockwork, which nobody cares about. It was the kind of event that harkened back to the boisterous days of E3, when the industry was in a healthier place and game reveals were cultural events. It was also a sham. 100% fact. They're now writing their article about all that passed. What, is it a crime to do that? It's a fact. That Xbox Game Showcase now is mid and kind of like disappointing, because when you see the truth, it was a sham. And they screwed over so many people. Just 3 days after the showcase, new Xbox CEO Asha Sharma warned of a reset at Microsoft's gaming division, which would require making hard choices. The weeks that followed were filled with reports of impending layoffs, studio closures, and game cancellations and price hikes. Again, over $100 plus $150 after already jacking it up multiple times. Yeah. Ninja Theory is reportedly one of the studios on the chopping block. So is Rare now, and Arcane. And they were thinking about Obsidian. But now they're kind of like walking back and forth on that. Double Fine. We're talking about up to 7 studios, maybe more. Despite having just revealed a new game at Summer Games Fest, or the Xbox Game Showcase. If this all comes to pass, Xbox will be a shell of its former self. And what's already left over is really bad. You see what I'm saying? So after muscling its way into the console space nearly 25 years ago, Microsoft's gaming division is at its lowest point ever, but PlayStation is not. Sony just made a big mistake with the physical crowd, but PlayStation is not, and at its lowest point ever. And the fallout from some disastrous decisions is going to get very ugly in the coming weeks and months, maybe even days, starting tomorrow. And it's already been bad for 30 straight days in a row. It wasn't always this way. Ding, ding, ding. With the arrival of the original Xbox in 2001, Microsoft seemed poised to be a viable contender in the space, with all of its resources helping its play catch up with the likes of Sony and Nintendo, and taking the spot of Sega. Major exclusives like Halo and a prescient foray into online play through Xbox Live helped to solidify this position for a time. It did, it was a thing. Party chat, or Xbox mic and talking in the game, because you didn't have party chat at that time on original Xbox and playing online multiplayer. But Microsoft flubbed the launch of the Xbox One in 2013 with an ill-fated push into non-gaming features like TV, and the brand has never really recovered. Yeah, and DRM lockout, and trying to kill physical copies in 2013. With the oft confusing Xbox Series X and S generation, the company only fell further behind, then told you not to buy an Xbox. I can tell you, like, when you really add up the totality of Microsoft's F-ups and destroying their own selves, PlayStation cannot still hold a candle. This is just as big because PlayStation is the biggest third-party physical manufacturer. That's all it is. But when you look at the mistakes that Microsoft made and the destruction upon itself, on top of getting stumped by Sony, it's still not even close, because PlayStation is not in that position. It's not. There are many reasons for this, but arguably the most damning was Microsoft's extremely expensive push into subscription services and killing your market with Game Pass and making all the games day one and monopolizing and spending an extra $100 billion after you were in a Sega position, and still failed farther down, and then put Call of Duty on Game Pass and all you can eat buffet. Good Lord. And everybody else tanked down, and now you're all mass laying them off and wanting to shut them down. Unbelievable. And you fed the AI monopoly. On paper, it made some sense. Streaming services like Netflix were upending the film and TV landscape, but gaming is different. So maybe the same could happen for gaming. Microsoft made some absolutely gigantic bets on this unproven future, spending billions and billions of dollars to acquire studios and publishers in an attempt to build out a large library of content for Game Pass that could lure subscribers, but lying to you and making you think that Game Pass was profitable. But it was a dark sinkhole. And that they got all those developers and they tanked them all down, tanked their metas and their soul down to throw them on an all-you-can-eat buffet so that they could not play the game and knew that they needed to succeed to sell millions of copies and be successful. So things only got worse. More money, more problems in that sense. And while Game Pass proved popular initially and you were making $1 entry fees into it, Netflix, like this is the thing, if you're confident, you wouldn't do that because how are you making the money back? You're just throwing the developers whatever budget you want to throw them, and you're paying them for whatever you want to pay them, but you're actually handicapping them and nerfing them. So over time, everything becomes worse. But gamers get tied into like this drug addiction of Game Pass being like that forever, but it was a false light. It ultimately plateaued, which meant that Microsoft spent all of that money on a business that didn't grow anywhere near as large as it expected. And they told you they weren't going to subsidize. Then they jacked the price up to $30. More than Netflix at that time. The service currently has around 30 million subscribers, if even. While Microsoft had hoped to hit 100 million by 2030, this misguided play also coincided with this is an Xbox marketing campaign, which is the worst campaign ever, which suggested that Xbox wasn't a single console, but rather a suite of Game Pass capable devices. No physical. Leading to even more confusion around the brand and a loss of identity. That's called an identity crisis. And here's how it's going. Just how bad are things? As Sharma and Xbox's chief content officer, Matt Booty, wrote in the reset memo, excluding Activision Blizzard King over the past 5 years, they still, without the $70 billion deal, spent over $20 billion on investments in content, platform, and hardware subsidy, meaning they've been subsidizing. But our annual revenue has declined nearly $500 million during that time. Going forward, this cannot continue. And that's what Satya came out and said, I'm not subsidizing anymore. The Activision deal, meanwhile, cost $68.7 billion. Plus all the $300 million lost on Game Pass, the $500 million court fine, the other $500 million, $300 million they had to do, like I said, they ended up to being at $70 billion. The company spent all of that money just to make it even less clear what an Xbox is. This is how you know this is the biggest failure in electronic history because nobody could be in a position to fail like Sega, right? They still survived. Look at them, and they're still profitable. And then grab an extra $100+ billion and be worse after that. How do you do that and still be worse? This past February, there was a major shakeup at the Xbox division. Former boss Phil Spencer, who oversaw the brand through the Game Pass push and its many costly acquisitions, plus third-party platforming push, retired, and former president and COO Sarah Bond left the company. Despite some uncertainty, got fired, and her lack of experience in the world of gaming, 100%, her prior role at Microsoft was head of the core AI division. Sharma's early days provided some cause for optimism. If you're a sheep and naive, she appeared willing to listen to fans on things like backwards compatibility and exclusives. Big mistake. Scrap the unpopular Microsoft gaming branding in favor of just Xbox and move the brand away from controversial AI futures, lies anyways. She also made some strange and superficial changes like parasocial behavior, restyling Xbox as Xbox. Oh my God, you moved around and hit the caps lock button. And then you took the AI and moved around the pre-made image and the boot up sound. But it's clear the issues at Xbox run much deeper than a simple name change can fix. And then look what happened in the past month. Sharma inherited a business that spent colossal amounts of money and had little to show for it. And now the bill is coming due. What makes this especially tragic is the sheer pedigree of the game studios that are being impacted. My colleague Tom Rowan reported that Microsoft was mulling over closing at least 5 studios, potentially 7, which includes the likes of Arcane, best known for the wildly influential Dishonored series, Deathloop 2, which got Game of the Year contender, Game of the Year awards, and Double Fine Productions, a beloved team behind code hits like Psychonauts 2, which was like an 88, 89 meta. And more recently, Keeper and Killin. Yeah, I don't know about those games. That's multiple teams filled with talented individuals responsible for some of the most notable games ever made. Now they're being discarded because of poor decisions that had no part of it. Look at what they did with Tango. And they had 89, 90 meta for Hi-Fi Rush. Canceled that MMO from ZeniMax. Shut down Everwild. Cancer Perfect Dark. Do I need to keep going? Remember the Scalebound situation? And canceled all these games. They canceled so many and shut down so many. It's not even funny. So continuing, what happens next? It's important to know that Microsoft currently exists within a video game industry that is perpetually on fire. Hardware is getting more expensive by the day. Successful studios are being gutted. Anti-consumer behavior is the norm, and major hits are crashing down to earth. But even amid this apocalyptic landscape, Xbox issues feel particularly existential. It is. Its hardware and subscription businesses are both faltering, and now it's decimating its game development teams as well. Tom reported that the impending layoffs are expected to start next week, and it's not clear yet just how widespread they will be. Part of the uncertainty is that we don't know exactly what will happen to these studios. Some may be hit with layoffs, some may be closed entirely, and some may be spun off as independent entities. Whatever happens though, Xbox will look drastically different once it's all over. And given the dire state of the console gaming industry, these might not even be the last changes from Microsoft's gaming division. Yeah, they may try to sell Xbox for like maybe 60, 70, 80 billion after that. You never know. Or 100 billion or something and try to sell it off. And just, now I got my money back. I'm done with that. So this right here is not necessarily bad that they wrote this, because this is absolutely what's going on. And these layoffs are about to happen. Everybody knows what Sony did. Just because you made a compendium of Microsoft's recent anti-consumer behavior and stupidity does not mean you're trying to distract some people from Sony. You can't. It's everywhere consistently, and articles keep on popping up. This is just, once again, Xbox fanboys not being able to handle that somebody is telling you the truth about what's going on at Xbox. Everybody knows the truth about what's going on at PlayStation. So what's the problem? As usual, you have low IQs and you're incapable of constantly giving constructive criticism, because at that point you should want Xbox to keep trying to improve and do better, as Sony messed up. But no, you want people to keep on just grifting against Sony. And that doesn't mean covering what they just did, but I mean just only looking at PlayStation without realizing that while doing that, you can still be focusing and criticizing Microsoft so they can try to improve the Xbox brand. But for the past decade, you have not done that, which is why your feedback has been garbage and unintelligent. You didn't improve it, Microsoft didn't improve it, but they did the most damage. But of course, you don't help, because you always thought that there was no problem and Xbox is okay. Oh man, that's always been a problem, right? Here comes another person. You get in there and make it about Xbox. No, I have a problem with this article. PlayStation is a much worse position with their ending physical copies for their games. That's a bigger worry for consumers. At the moment, yeah, nobody cares about worrying about Xbox. It's already dead. If you're saying that, I can understand that. But Sony is not in a worse position. That's impossible. It's not going to ever be possible. PlayStation is not going to die. Like, you're naive. You're literally just spreading a bunch of fear off of a small physical base. Like, it's not going to destroy PlayStation, because the majority of PlayStation is like digital. And majority of people in the PlayStation world that are diehard fans and even casuals don't care, and they're going to stay digital. Though I think they're still going to fight for this, and you should, because you should protect the physical legacy of gaming. It's still very important. But this is not going to kill PlayStation. I'm telling you, it's not going to do as much damage as you think, but it's doing enough damage to make Sony probably reconsider how they want to approach this next. The bias press trying to damage control in Sony's favor. They already said what everybody knows. This is just a compendium of that from that website. Like, it's literally insane to me how slow these people are. Xbox is about to have another spree of negative news. Just watch. I'm telling you, it's going to happen. PlayStation will be fine no matter what. And I know some people probably are going to not want that, but it's like, would you want all those third-party publishers and developers to sink and PlayStation to fail? Why would you want that? So much of gaming would be in trouble. You would be dumb to me, and I would have considered you a true gamer. Just like I didn't want Xbox to fail. But Microsoft made that impossible, along with dumb Xbox fanboys who are incapable of giving professional constructive criticism. I'm just saying, it's pretty obvious. And it's still obvious right now. Xbox is a disaster. Handle it, Xbox fanboys. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you guys think. As usual, leave a comment down below. Later, learn how to handle the truth.